Just continue. All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is Daf Samach Ches. So we left off yesterday. We were discussing so we had the Mishnah where they braided the two animals together, the Seir, the Par, and they offered it. On Samach Ches. I'm just looking back. Yeah, we're at the top of Samach Ches and Aleph, right? So then we had a whole thing that they wouldn't skin the animal. They want to remove the skin before they cut up the pieces. So we want to learn. So we learned that out from by the Par Koi Mashiach. So the Par Koi Mashiach also the parts of the animal were cut up and it wasn't skinned first and they cut up. So now. That was the last source we learned from the part of the Koi Mashiach. So the Gemara says, I have 3 lines on the top of Hasam and Elam, and over there, in the case of the Par Koi Mashiach, right? How do we know that when we go ahead and cut it up, that we don't go ahead and remove the hide first? Hasam and Elam. The time of the Brisa, it says V'karbu upirshu v'haitzi. So it says over there, right? And the kirbo, and its innards, right, and its waist. We learned that you take it out. You might think that you go ahead and burn it complete. Right? I guess is the base. So it says over here. In that case, it says over here that you go ahead and then then I guess including the head and its feet, and it says over there has feet. Over there, right? They cut it up in pieces. Afkan ayidei nituach. So we learned from an ola. By ola, you go ahead and you cut up the parts. So too over here, in the case of the par, the Par Koi Mashiach, you also go ahead and cut it up. So if over there, if we're learning from an ola, by an ola, you go ahead and you skin it first, and then you go ahead and cover the parts. Afkan ayidei hafshit. So Tamalema, therefore it says the kirbo upirsha, right? Therefore it says over here, right? Its innards and its waist, right? And then so matamudo. So what's the limud? So okay, it says the kirbo upirsha, very nice. So matamud. Samara papa kashem shepirsha the kirbo kach b'sara b'ora. Just like over there, the waist is still in its innards. You don't remove the waist from the innards in the mikdash, right? You take it out whole, right? It's not the proper way. So therefore, it is burned or it is cut up. It's not removed first. It's not skinned and then or remove the waist right inside. Rather, you take it all out and then you cut it up. So too, the basar, since it says over there, we learn from the waist. So to over here, when it comes to the basar is within the skin, and therefore it is cut up and the skin is now removed first. So therefore, we learn from we learn from the case of the Par Koi Mashiach that the Par Koi Mashiach is just like over there, Par Koi Mashiach, it's cut up with the skin still on it. So it's over here is with the skin still on it. Now remember, when we say Par Koi Mashiach, there's the Par of Yom Kippurim and Par Koi Mashiach. It's a separate carbon. Par Koi Mashiach is brought in a case of the Kohen Gadol or the king. Those cases, if they do a certain avera, then they don't bring your standard chatos. They bring actually a par. Fine. 2 dots. Now. We said back in the Mishnah, from when do their clothing become tummy? So we know that he who goes out and takes the animals to be burnt outside the mikdash. Base of Sreifa, outside, base of Sreifa, right? So after it's, in other words, the parts that aren't offered on Mizbeach, when it's taken out, so that person becomes Tameh. So the Mishnah said, I'm just reading the Mishnah because we're going to discuss it today. When you leave the Azara, going out towards Yerushalayim, or to leave Yerushalayim, that's when his begadim become. And Rabbi Shimon Aimer, I'm just reading from the Mishnah, when most of the fire it takes hold of the par and the seir that are being burnt. Fine. Tana Rabban. Yaitzi el michutz l'machana v'sarfu. So it says you take it outside the machana and you burn it. And laholon ata oimer naisei lehem shlosh machanais. Over there, right? In the case of a par Kohen Gadol, that is not the par of Yom Kippur, but par Kohen Gadol, and also the par Hedem Davar, which is the par which is for the Tzibur. It says over there. Three machanos. So the three machanos, right, is a whole long Rashi here, but the three machanos is basically there's machana Kuna, Levia, Yisrael, which basically correlates to the mikdah or inside the heichal, right, or the azara, right. The azara is the machana shechina, right. Then you have the machana Levia, which is going to be harabayis, and then there's Yushalayim is the machana Yisrael. So if you take it outside three machanas, that means outside Yerushalayim. If you take it outside one machana, it's outside of the temple, right? If you take it around outside two, it's outside Harabais. So it says, so here it tells you take out one side machana. In Cain. So I understand if we learn from over there, the other case, which we'll soon get to, that you take out the par Kohen Gadol, right? When I say par Kohen Gadol, remember, I'm not referring to the par Yom Kippurim, right? I'm going to call par Yom Kippurim, which is referring to the bowl that's offered Yom Kippurim, versus the par Kohen Gadol, which is brought for a Kohen Gadol sin offering, right? So if that's the case, why does it say mechutz l'machna? If we already know what you take it out, you burn it outside three machanas. So why does it say mechutz l'machna again? But ma'alacha kevan shiyatza chutz l'machna achas metav begad. Once, and I was teaching a different halacha, that once you take it outside, that once you leave and you're going towards outside Yerushalayim, once you leave the first machana, once you leave the azara, then you are tummy.
The three machanas, which case are they talking about?
We're going to do the limud right now. We're going to do the yeah. We're yeah. V'hasam and Olan, and over there we know the Tani we learn in Brisa. V'haitzi as kolapar chutz l'shleish machanos. It says you take outside the par. Right, there's a bunch of psukim that are brought. Right, you take the par. Right, it's going to be like tough to follow which one you have to be careful. Right, the aleph. Right, and it says over there you take it out. This is in the beginning of Vayikra Dalet. Right, so this is not referring to Yom Kippurim. Right, this is referring to the other the other part. So Vayikra is a par chutz machana lechutz l'shleish machana. Vayikra is a par. It's called a par. So come and teach you outside three camps. So is it telling you take it out outside all three camps? Or maybe it's only telling you one. When it says over there, the power of the Eidah of the congregation, right? Power of the Davar, right? El michutz l'machana. It says, do you take out chutz l'machana over there? It's not telling you to take out l'machana. Sharei kfar nemar v'sarafa so kasher sarafa is a par harishon. Because it already told you do like the parishon. The parishon says you take it outside. So why does it tell you again to take it outside? If that's the case, why say again? If you know it's supposed to take out like the other one, so to tell you to take outside a second camp. Okay, so it can't be just outside one camp. It has to be outside two camps, right? I.e., outside Harabayis or outside the Machna Levia. Right, and it says when it says in the case of the deshen, the ashes are removed; they're taken outside. It's not teaching you take it outside. You take it out to the place of where you take out the ashes. Right, it says already you take out the places where the ashes are poured. If that's the case, therefore it's teaching you machna shlishi. So therefore, it's come to teach you that it's taken outside three machnas because each time it says do like the other one, and then it says take it outside. So why do you have to say take it outside? Really do like the other one. So and since it does it twice, therefore you take it outside one camp, two camp, three camps. For Rabbi Shimon. Hi, mechutz l'machana. Okay, so now we learned according to the Tanakama, mechutz l'machana. We already know you take it outside. So why tell you mechutz l'machana? So Tanakama learned because that tells you when you are metami your begadim when you leave outside the first machana. Rabbi Shimon, hi, mechutz l'machana ma'yavile. So what does Rabbi Shimon do with that? And by the way, he needs it for something else. Look at the Tanya. We're learning Brisa. Rabbi Yezer Reimer. Nemar kam mechutz l'machana. It says over there mechutz l'machana v'nemar lahalon. It says over there by the para duma. Right, it's a different paraduma, right, which is brought right to move, which is used for tuma space, right. It says later on, just like over there in the case of paraduma, it's 3 machnas. So to over here, shlosh machnas. And we learned back, just like over there, it was to the east of Yerushalayim because it says you face, right, the Mikdash. So it's to the east, right, and you face west, right. So Afkan Mizrach Yerushalayim. So to over here, the limud comes to teach you that where do you go ahead and take it out? You take it to the east of Yerushalayim, right? You take it to east Yerushalayim. That's where you go ahead and you burn it, right? It's giving you a location of the burning. It's not talking about when you become tamei. It's talking about the location of the burning. But Rabbanan Heichan Saraf, and according to Rabbanan, where do they burn? Lu, the Heichan Saraf Lu. So Kidatani is learning Brisa. Heichan Nisraf, and where is it burnt? Turn the page. Samach Chesam Beis on top. The Tzvona Shel Yerushalayim, right to the north of Jerusalem. The chutz l'shlosh machmas, and outside the 3 machmas, as we said earlier. And Rabbi Yosi says, Aves hadeshen nisraf. That which we go ahead and we burn the par and the seir is also the location of basically where the ashes of the mizbeach are placed. Right, as Rashi says, right, you have to go ahead and first go ahead and put ashes from the mizbeach there, right, to prepare the makom, and then over there where the ashes are placed, that's where you go ahead and you burn. And Amar Rava, some man tan in the Palagala Rabbi Yosi, who argues the Rabbi Yosi. Now, is Rabbi Yosi arguing or not with the first opinion, right? So the first opinion just said, yeah. So the Rabbanan over there say you burn to the north, outside the Machane, and Rabbi Yosi says Abesa Deshin Yisrael. So we don't know if Rabbi Yosi agrees with it or not, but it appears that the Tanakama didn't agree with Rabbi Yosi's point that he added, right? Who is he who argues with Rabbi Yosi? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. There's the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. The Tanya, we're learning the Brisa. It says El Shevach Hadeshen Yisarif. So it says over there, right, and to the to where the ashes are poured, that's will be burnt. L'shem Deshen. That over there, that they are l'sham Deshen, right? It'll be over there. They'll be placed over there. The Deshen will be placed there, right? And that's where it'll be burnt. So that's Rabbi Eliezer. That's the Tanakava, and Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer. He argues, he says, no, you don't need to put the ashes on the mizbeach there first and then burn it, and then bring the body parts of the parent seer there. Rather, it's going to teach you that the place of where you go ahead and you burn the parent the seer has to be a makom meshufach, has to be a place that is good to burn, a place where you can pour, i.e. a place that is slanted. So in other words, Rabbi ben Yaakov does not learn of preparing the makom with ashes. Rather, he uses that pasuk to teach you that the place has to be slanted. And maybe he agrees with that. Maybe he just learns that the second lima, not only do you have to pair the makom with ashes, but you also need a place where it's makom meshufach, a place that is fit for pouring. So in other words, maybe he doesn't argue, and maybe everyone would agree with that nakuda. Tana Rabbanan. It says v'hasarev. It says v'hasarev. So hasarev mitabeganim loy hamatzi says or. Right, so he who burns, right, person who is involved in the burning, right, he's moving around the body, the parts of the par and the seir in the fire. That's a person who becomes tamei. He's the saref, and not the person who starts the fire. And not the person who organizes the pyre, right, the wood. Right, but even the one who starts the fire also. Who is the one who's the burner, whose clothing becomes tamei? He's the one who's helping during b'shas sreifa, moving around. You might think also maybe when it comes ashes in time begadim, therefore it's osam referring to the limbs. The limbs are metame one's clothing, and not, however, once they become ashes and the person basically now begins to assist moving around the ashes in the fire, that's already, you didn't do anything. You didn't burn the part of the seer, you just burnt more ashes.
First, the people who carried it out, they become tamei begadim or not? If it's only hasoret.
Right, so it turns out like this. It turns out like, it turns out that, remember, according to the other opinion, you come tell me when you leave before you get there, right?
Exactly.
In other words, so it's like almost like retroactively, right. They become tamei. Whoever was active in the role, you were tamei for when you left, right? So I think also those who carry out. I'm not sure, I know what it comes with by right. Right. So over here, this Bryce learns Hasarif, right? Sorry, right? So this Tana actually holds like Rabbi Shimon. They're not telling me until the fire takes hold. So it's not like what he said. It goes back.
Otherwise, everybody in
the whole business they're checking animals all day long.
No. But over here, the person's his clothing are become tameh because he was involved in the burning of the parts. But it really wouldn't count. But this, according to the opinion, only when you burn most of it. So according to this opinion, we're going to feed Rabbi Shimon.
Retroactive too.
No, but it's not because this is only, as Rashi explains, it's only the feed Rabbi Shimon.
So how is he not tamei the second he
No, it's
checks
only
it?
in this specific case.
How is he not tameh when because when you,
He's not tamei, right?
right?
So when he's burning, but when the limbs of man is burning,
Right.
it becomes tamei.
Right.
That's why I was touching it.
Fine, weiter.
Just in time.
Vezia, oh no. Vezia,
Just in time.
Oh, no. Tamloi oisam tamigade b'loim mishnasei from tamigade. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shimon Aimer. Hapar matame nita chabasar ain't tamei. Only the par when it's still a bull, then it's matami. But if already it's charred, flesh, then it's not matami. Megadim and my benayu. What's not with the Rabbi Shimon and the Tanakama? Ikabrayu the shavia charucha. Right. In other words, when it's very charred. So according to the first opinion, it's not ashes yet, and therefore it's still matami. According to Rabbi Shimon, it's no longer par. It would not be matami. Fine. Nai Mishnah. Mishnah says, Amru loy l'kohen gadol higia sayir l'midbar. The sayir has arrived to the midbar. Now, should we point it out? The midbar, right? Remember, we sent it out to be pushed off the cliff. The cliff, but the midbar is only the beginning of the area, of the deserted area of where the cliff is located. The cliff is actually much further out, as we'll soon see, right? So the midbar, right, was only so. No, when he tells them when the animal gets to the midbar. How do you know they reach the midbar? So GPS, right? No, they had some a sign they would do. Right? They would have flags and they would wave one. He sees the other guy wave from down there. He would wave his flag, and so on and so forth until it got back. And I'm Rabbi Yehuda. What do you mean? I got a better way. Why? From Yerushalayim until Beis Chidudo. Beis Chidudo is basically the area of the desert where the rough terrain started, which is further than the cliff, right? If we say the cliff was 12 mil, right, and there's only 3 mil, so basically it's 9 mil through this this area. So over there, Chidudo Shloishim Milin, 3 milin. So how do you time it out? Hochin mil, the Chayzin mil, right? You walk a mil, you come back a mil, the Shayin Kadei mil, and then you wait 1 mil. So Yaydin Shegia Sir the Midbar, then that's the time of 3 mil to go out to the Midbar. Then the animal has reached the Midbar. And right, you got a better sign. In the beginning, as we mentioned, there was that red wool that was hanging by the entrance of the Heichal. And once the Seir reached the Midbar, and then the red wool would become white. Shinamar the pasuk says, so it says over there that your sins, right, the red will turn to white. So in other words, stum over here, right, it would turn to white when it got to the midbar, right? Not just when it was pushed off, right? When it was pushed off, it's already white for a long time ago. But it seems to be over here that the Kohen Gadol got the thumbs up, ready to move on once it got to the midbar, even though the animal was not pushed off yet. So we see over here that Beis Chadudo was in the midbar by Kumashvalan. The Ksaver Rabbi Yehuda Kaven Shegias in the midbar Nasas mitzvah. So once the animal reached the midbar, as the mitzvah was done, not necessarily that it was pushed off, but once it reached the midbar, that was already considered to be the avoda according to Rabbi Yehuda, and they're ready to go ahead and move on. So Hadron Allah Shnei Sirim. So
יהיה לנו כל ישראל, סימן טוב ומזל טוב. יהיה לנו כל ישראל, סימן טוב ומזל טוב ומזל טוב וסימן טוב, יהיה לנו לכל ישראל.
Weiter. All right. Next Mishnah. Now we start the seventh parak, which is the last parak of the avoda. Right. Then there's one last parak which had to do with more halachah Yom Kippurim. So then the Mishnah starts off. Bol Kohen Gadol likros. All right, Kohen Gadol already move on. The seir has reached the midbar. No, let's go. We're in a rush. So Bolo Kohen Gadol likros. He comes to read from the Sefer Torah. In Ratza likros big day boots. Kare v'imlav kare b'tztalis lavan bishlo. If he wants to go ahead and read from his linen clothing that he's wearing, right? He didn't change yet. He wants to go. He's allowed to go ahead and he can read from there. And if he wants, he can wear his own white robe. Chazan Knesses Naitel Sefer Torah. So the Chazan Knesses he takes the Sefer Torah. Nice on the Rosh. It sounds like kins, right? There's all these people handing the Torah, right? Chazan Knesses Naitel Sefer Torah. But nice on the Rosh Knesses he gives it to the Rosh Knesses. So the Chazan gives it to the Rosh Knesses. The Rosh Knesses nice on the Skan. The Rosh Knesses gives it to the Skan. But Skan nice on the Kohen Gadol. Then the Skan gives it to the Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol takes it. I made Umekabel. He takes it the Kare and he reads Achrimos. He reads from Achrimos. And from Ach Besor. So, and these are it's located, I think, both in Vayikra. Let's say, hey, I don't know, Shmos. One second. Right. They're both okay. All right. So that was they're close proximity to one another. No, not too far. So I guess right. So he reads it at Ach Besor, and I guess he rolls a little past it and he reads there. The Gadol Sefer Torah, then he rolls up, puts it away. So there's more written here, but this is a kosher Sefer Torah. It's not, it was all connected. It's more written here. I didn't read everything. And then it was and then in Midbar he also reads in Kari Al Peh, and then he reads it Al Peh because he doesn't go ahead and we'll soon see he doesn't go ahead and roll all the way there. Rather, Tech the Tzibur. Right. Yeah. So he says more than there was there, and therefore he reads the other part by heart. He doesn't go ahead and go and advance it to that place, but Vayikra L'chara he advances it because it's much closer in proximity. Right. Fine. Umuvarech aleh shmona brachos, and he recites 8 brachos. Right, I'm actually going to have a finger in the Mishnah here and a finger in Rashi because Rashi sort of explains each bracha. So his first one is Shema bracha is Al Torah, right? Al Torah is that's a bracha achrona which I'm reading, which is Ashena Solana Torah Semes Ve'al Havoda. He says a bracha avoda. Or I would say I'm reading for Rashi again. Retzi B'Amcha Yisrael V'Tirtza Avoda B'Dvir V'Secha V'Sha'ischa Levadcha B'Yir Navod, right? Which we say on by Berachos Kohanim on Yom Noraim. Or whenever we do Berachos Kohanim, ve'al ha'odah, and he also makes a bracha ha'odah, modim anachnu lach al tov l'chol l'hodos al avodah, right? And then he's mevarech b'shel avodah shavad b'hodah smuch al avodah t'chsiv zerech. I'm just reading Rashi, so he reads that bracha, ve'al ha'odah, right? And he reads one of hodah. Oh, actually, I just read that one. I skipped it. Right. I skipped one. Right. That was the modim anachnu lach. That was the Odah. The Mechilas Avon, and he says a bracha of Mechilas Avon of Mechol Havasena b'Yom Kippurim as Zeh. Right. Melech Mochav V'Slech Lavasena, which we do recite on Yom Kippurim. Vial Hamikdash, and he has a b'fnei Atzmo. Then he has a bracha on the Mikdash on itself. Right. Al Mikdash v'Chaisim Baruch Shabachar b'Mikdash. Right. That's the bracha there. Vial Yisrael b'fnei Atzman, and he also has a bracha on Yisrael b'fnei Atzman. There's no Rashi on that, right? So there's a bracha on Yisrael. The Al Yushalayim Fnei Atzman, Yushalayim on itself. The Al Kohanim Fnei Atzman, and the Kohanim, right? He says, Baruch Shabachar Mizara Shel Aaron V'chein Al Yisrael. So yes, that was also likely the bracha on Yisrael. The Al Shar HaTfilah, and also on the other Tfilah, which all these I think the Gemara will go ahead and explain. And Haroeh Kohen Gadol. So after he reads from the Sefer Torah, he makes these 8 brachas, right? And haroy kohen gadol kshu korei, one who sees the kohen gadol while he's reading, ain't a roy parvasei hanisrafim. You can't go ahead and see the power and the seer that were burning outside Shulaim. But hanisrafim, one who sees that burning, ain't a roy kohen gadol kshu korei, cannot see the kohen gadol reading it. Lo yipnei shein rashai. Now, because you're not allowed to, ella shaisa derechayka was farther part of melachas shneiam shavakachas, and therefore they were done at the same time. So Zok the Gemara. Now, in the beginning, it said he reads for the Sefer Torah. He wants to read the clothing he was just wearing before. He can wear it, right? The special big day kuna for the Kohen Gadol, or he can go ahead and wear his own, whatever he wants. By the fact he says he can go ahead and wear his own clothing, we can learn from here that the kriya is not part of the avoda. Viktani, and also says imratza likrais the big day boots kare. And if he wants to go ahead and wear the special big day avoda, the special big day kohen gadol, while doing something that's not avoda, like reading, like we just said, it's not avoda because you can wear your own clothing, right? It must be that you're allowed to go ahead and use the big day kahuna of the kohen gadol for your own purposes. You're allowed to get hana from it because you're using it for a non-avoda type of service. So Wes says, no, Dilmashani, Kriya, the Tzarech Avodi. Maybe the Kriya is the Tzarech Avoda, maybe it's linked to it, and therefore it's not necessarily using it for your own purpose. It's not really necessarily getting Hana because it's Tzarech Avodi. Dipoilon, because we have a question. Big day kahuna, when it comes to the clothing of the kahuna, Nisnu Lahanos Behen Elo Nisnu Lahanos, right? Are you allowed to go ahead and get Hana from it, or is it like Meila? They're not allowed to get your own personal benefit from it. So Tashma, come listen. Lo you how you yeshenim big day kodesh. It says one should not go ahead and sleep in big day kodesh. So we learn over there, right? Rash point the shemiafiach person might falls asleep, might pass wind, right, while wearing it. So you shouldn't do it. Lo yeshenim big day kodesh. So shino hu deloi. It says sounds like over there sleeping you can't. Ha michlachli, but you want to go ahead and eat in it. So eat in it, right? You're using it for your own purposes. You're wearing it. So Dilma. Shani achilo the tzarech avodi. Maybe the eating is referring to the eating of karbanos, and the tzarech avodi because the Tanya is braysa. The yachlu oisam asher klubar behem. So it says over there, right, that and they eat them and they get kapara. So malamed shar kohanim eichlim, that the kohanim go ahead and eat the meat from the karbanos ubalim mischaprin, and the owners get kapara. So shino hudalo. So it sounds like okay, you can't sleep in it. Ha heluchim mahalchet, and you go ahead and shpitzir in it. Go ahead and take a walk. So maybe it means that really you can't walk in it. You can't use it for your own purposes. So why does it just say you can't sleep in it? It says you can't sleep in it, you can't walk around in it, right? Or eat in it, it doesn't say because eating is really part of avoda, we just pointed out. But you can't sleep in it and walk around in it. So why did it just say sleeping? The seifa eats strichli. Over there we need it for the seifa because it says paishtin. One is allowed to go ahead and take and use the clothing, take it off and put it underneath his head. That's not considered to be used to be using it. If you want to just lay your head on it, take a nap, right? The whole reason was you couldn't wear it while sleeping is because one might pass gas while wearing it, which is not appropriate. The same reason why tefillin you can't sleep in tefillin. So over there it was just teach us that halacha, but you are allowed to put it on your head, but you're not allowed to go ahead and wear it while doing your own your own actions. All right, we'll stop here. So Sunday. Oh, look at that. Oh. If not, we'll stop a little short. No, we'll start 6:45 sharp. Whatever we don't finish, we'll finish that. We won't fall. Yeah.